Alright, kicking off today's IEM Cologne Stage 2 recap, and we're starting with Falcons versus GamerLegion, which was kyousuke's debut on LAN with this new Falcons lineup, and let me tell you, this kid did not disappoint. So, Falcons take the series 2-0, and honestly they looked in control for most of it, but Nuke actually started a bit rough. GamerLegion had a nice 5-3 lead early, Rez was frying with a couple multi-kills, and Torsen even pulled off a 1v2 clutch late in the game. But then kyousuke said no, dropped a crisp 4k on the ramp hold, and that flipped the half. Falcons brought it back, closed it out 13-11, and you could already see kyousuke settling in. Then we have moved to Mirage, and this was just Falcons showing levels. They jumped out to a 6-0 lead, and the only reason it didn't look like a stomp at half was because Rez pulled out some black magic with a 1v3 clutch. Second half started, and GamerLegion actually looked decent for a couple of rounds, but they stepped up. They stepped up to beat Anchor and hit 4 deagle headshots to kill the momentum instantly. Falcons closed it 13-6, job done, and series locked. But the big story here is kyousuke. 1.28 rating overall, 1.60 just on Mirage. He looked super comfortable in those short fights, and you could tell this team is building around him properly. Even Nico was gassed about it, saying he's happy to step back and let kyousuke cook, which is wild when Nico's saying that. Also, shout out MongolZ, had a clean 1.41 rating, and Nico himself dropped a 1.43. Falcons had firepower across the board here. And there was even a round where Kersey whiffed hard and it literally cost GamerLegion the map, so brutal stuff. Solid debut for kyousuke and a clean win for Falcons. If this is how they're starting out, Cologne might get interesting real quick. Next up we have G2 versus Furia, and this one was G2's first official showing with the lineup. Really excited to watch them play, and honestly it wasn't a bad debut at all. They locked it in 2-0 with wins on Dust 2 and Inferno. There were some standout moments across the board, starting on Dust 2, which was actually Furia's pick. G2 hit them hard right out the gate. MongolZ was insane here, robotic aim, flying out for entry frags, even dropped a full 4k to shut a round down. Hunter, Matisse and MongolZ all had solid multi-kill rounds on CT side, and it just snowballed. G2 built up a 9-3 lead before the half. Their T side wasn't pretty though. Furia's CT approach was aggressive and caught G2 off guard for a while. But a few messy executes were all they needed to scrape it through, and they closed Dust 2 13-11. On Inferno, it was G2's T side that looked sharp. They kept punching through B, and Yakinda as the anchor just couldn't keep up. Even when Furia stacked the site, MD still cracked it open. And then, one of the biggest highlights of the match, Hunter somehow wins a 1v5 clutch with a 5-7. Completely swings the momentum and crushes Furia's hopes. After that, it was all G2. They wrapped it up 13-8 and sealed the series 2-0. G2 will be buzzing with that debut. MongolZ looked like a demon entry. Hunter not only clutched but also called a smart T side, and Matty's played a clean game on both ends of the map. It wasn't flawless, but against a Furious squad that's been trending upwards, this was a big W for the new G2. I was really impressed watching them play. So now they move forward to face the winner of Astralis versus Vitality, and that's going to be spicy. Okay, and to close out the first batch of the Stage 2 matches, the Mongols have absolutely steamrolled 3D Max in a 2-0 sweep, and this one was not close. Nuke ended 13-2, and while Ancient was tighter, the Mongolian squad still shut the door when it mattered most. This was 3D Max's pick, Nuke, and they'll probably regret that decision for a while. The Mongols were locked in from the first round, clean rotations, airtight holds, and 3D Max just couldn't crack the defense. They only got 2 rounds in the entire half. It somehow got even worse in the second half when Mongols pulled off a 5v2 pistol combat that completely broke 3D Max's spirit and sealed the 13-2 stomp on Nuke. Ancient was a bit more competitive. The Mongols started strong again with a 7-2 lead on T side. 3D Max finally woke up, Maka especially. He pulled out two 1v2 clutches to keep them in it, and they even brought it back level a few times. But then Mazzino said no and pulled off the clutch of the series, a 1v4 to get them on match point. And if that wasn't enough, Techno came in with a 1v2 clutch right after to shut the game down 13-10. This was just dominance. Splid led the charge with a 1.50 rating. Techno was lights out, and Mazzino might have had the round of the day with that clutch. Everyone on the squad pulled weight. They looked like a unit that picked up right where they left off at the major. So now we're set for a Mongols vs Falcons clash next, and that is going to be crazy. Very good game that should be. That wraps up the first three matches from Stage 2 at Cologne. Falcons, G2 and the Mongols all looked strong and move on in the upper bracket. Drop a like and a sub if you're keeping up with the Cologne action, and I'll keep you in the loop. And as always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care.